rest of the day. He was hit a bit, 7.02, but Quinn, I'm curious about what you think about Lone Druid. Do you still think he's like this platinum tier kind of a pickup, first round pickup, or do you think his stock might have been like lowered a bit?
I think he's maybe a little bit worse. I think essentially the same hero, like some slight tweaks, but I don't think any of it was too game-changing. I think just being able to pick a core in the first two that like doesn't really get countered like that hard. There aren't any like obvious heroes that just totally own him. And so that way you can pick like your supports a little bit later. We've seen like Swindle go for like some like Phoenix a little bit lately. He's been trying that hero, trying some like other niche picks. So it lets them pick their supports a little bit later, and they actually take the Abaddon as well. So they'll have both their supports still out there for the second phase. So a little bit of mystery in the
air. They could also fall back. We saw them play a bit of Doom yesterday too. We see the Ember come out from MP. It hasn't been banned yet. Maybe you can wiggle it in. I mean, I've seen it personally all over the place. First came back into play a lot of the 4 position roaming around, Infernal Blade kind of Doom action, and we saw like Digital Chaos, I believe, have MSS run it in the off lane, and yesterday we even saw Moo play it in the safe lane. So if Complexity really cares a lot about the hero, maybe they can fit that puzzle piece into their draft here. But next pick is going to be going the way of MP, and you know you have this Ember Spirit set up for Envy. It looks like in the mid lane. Obviously they care a lot about it. They've already banned out Shadow Fiend and Invoker just to hope it secures an easier time for him. Even a Dazzle to be behind him. So I guess that's a lane they don't even need to touch much further. And they're going to move into an Ursa for their third pickup.
Yeah, it's a hero that just absolutely massacres Abaddon in the lane. There's nothing he can do. So you can give him like a level 1 start with the Ursa. You could even get a couple kills in the Abaddon early, and then you can just force them out of the lane. I will go for like this 4-1-1 build. So the Abaddon just actually can't stay in the lane. Gives them a little bit more farming potential. They get the quick blink and they just go fight nonstop. It's something they'll do. They also just really like this Ursa. It's a nice pick for the Lone Druid because you can just get on top of them. Whenever you get Rouge, you can ult it off. And you don't care too much about getting pepper. Like, you can get kited as the game goes later and later, but you sort of have the Ember to get on top of the Lone Druid. You have like some answers, and they really pick this Ursa just to get off to like a good start early on in the game.
Yeah, MP clearly caring about their early game. I already talked a bit about the mid lane that they're hoping that Envy will have a good secured start in his Ember, and as you pointed out here with the Ursa, very high tempo, early peaking kind of a hero here for MP. So they're not looking to probably push the pace overall too far into the late game here. I'm curious to see if Complexity get a lineup to kind of challenge MP in the early game, or if they're going to find some way to kind of be elusive and stall out and play towards the later portion or not. Z-Freak's hero, I would imagine, is going to be picked up here momentarily. They like to favor something for him, like the Earth Spirit, let's say, while it is still out there. Could be something to be able to get the jump on an Ember Spirit 2 in the early game if they want to harass him a bit.
Yeah, I think this this opener from MP is actually pretty interesting because this is exactly what DC went for in the third game of the series last night. And so I was curious if Complexity was going to pick up the Doom in that first phase. And they don't, and MP doesn't ban it out either, so they're leaving it out there, thinking it like the Dazzle is maybe a good answer versus the Doom, or you know, that Doom isn't actually that amazing versus Ember because he can kind of just like walk away and like as long as you have some sort of a save and you don't have like a whole lot of jumping heroes. And typically if you're picking like a Doom for your 4 or your offliner, then you know that's typically the slot that you'll have your initiator or the hero that typically has the catch on your team.
Yeah.
So you're sort of low on catch, and so you can Doom him, and then he just kind of walks away for a little bit, then comes back and they take the fight.
Well, since then, Complexity have picked up the Oracle here. One that's really have fallen off the radar for a bit since the nerf has hit him in the past, and was very popular during the Batrider era when you wanted someone to kind of get the bailout of the lasso. Here, Swindle still favors the pickup. He's good at getting rid of the Flame Guard, and his synergy with Abaddon is very, very interesting, obviously, with Borrowed Time and the ultimate. Even early on, like you can, you know, with Oracle use, what is it here, Purifying Flames to auto-blast down Abaddon shield in the early game. So I wonder if they'll have any fun with a dual lane between Oracle and Abaddon. There's some unique little chemistry between these two.
Yeah, it's sort of like people used to do the Abaddon Centaur a while back whenever those two heroes were very popular. They do that dual lane, it's just a massive amounts of burst damage with the double edge and the shield. It's like you said, the sort of the self team popping it. They definitely have a lot of saves, a lot of yeah. I was gonna say, I
More.
wonder if they're gonna go all in on this sort of kiting, like defensive, just buying time spells. This Ursa is gonna have a miserable game. Doesn't have the greatest of times versus Oracle. You know, it's good versus Abaddon in the lane, but if the Abaddon gets to a point where he can actually like, you know, just like continue to get shields off in these fights,
Yeah.
Lone Druid and OD, two of the best kiting cores. Um, in the game right now. Also, heroes that Complexity really likes to play. I think this Ursa, if the game goes, you know, if the game starts going a decent amount of time, then he's going to have a miserable time versus Astral as well.
Yeah, everyone he wants to gobble up in front of him is going to get, saved with a false promise, sent into an astral imprisonment, pops their own borrowed time, or he'll end up getting rooted in some way. I didn't even mention, of course, the Fate's Edict that could be easily applied to him, so he can't even do much in these fights. He has, of course, the ultimate if he wants to shred it off, but you don't want to have to fall back on that just to kind of start fighting. Usually, Ursus will have to fall back on that just to kind of get themselves out of a rough spot. And with MP going into the Spear Breaker, it really does feel like they're putting even more emphasis on the early game. For Spear Breaker's positioning, is he going to have a decent time even trying to bully the Outworld in the mid lane? Like, where do you want to see him make his impression in the early game?
I think we'll have to see how they lane it. NP will sometimes do these dual offlanes with the Dazzle. They'll go for the Centaur. They've done that in the past. The Centaur, Dazzle, dual offlane. And I think it's decent this game as well. It's pretty good versus the Lone Druid trying to get on top of them. Although not the greatest versus the OD because you can get Astral then whenever they stampede away, but just a small thing. We'll see what they go for. They may try and do some sort of a dual lane and then, you know, just let AUI solo versus this Abaddon. They can charge in and kill this Abaddon basically any time if he just tries to like set XP in this lane.
Yeah.
Once the Ursa has a start. So I think there's several places that the Spirit Breaker can go for a kill. I think this OD is killable as well if he uses Astral. In this lane at any time. So at the very least, even if he's saving his Astral for a long amount of time, the Ember Spirit will have a nicer time mid.
Since then, Complexity finish out their 5-man lineup here with what looks like the Batrider grab for Monkeys, an old Monkeys special. But, coming into this draft, you would think that it was going to be the Abaddon pickup here. But actually, yesterday, now that I remember, Z-Freak played the Batrider. I don't know if you happened to catch that, CCC.
No, I only saw the third game.
But yesterday, Complexity ran a Z-Freak Batrider. They started him out in the mid lane. They actually won this match. It was the one game they won against DC in the series yesterday. It was game 2. And yeah, it was an intriguing draft actually from both sides. That was where Misery brought back the Ricky once again, and we got to see the Wisp. I'm very anxious to see how Complexity are going to make, again, this zoning Batrider work, because it's like his jungle game isn't really what it used to be, and now you don't have the off-lane to kind of benefit from farm. Where do you get your Blink Dagger from? But, Z-Freak was making action happen, string together a couple of kills, then managed to farm his way to, decently timed Blink Dagger. It's just something, again, I'm going to look to keep my eye on. But MP respond already. They get something that's typically good against the Batrider, also great against the Outworld. Feels like a pretty solid pick overall. They finished their lineup with a Nyx assassin here.
Yeah, it gives them a vision hero versus like these defensive supports is really nice. You can scatter around behind the lines, so you can try and get on top of this Oracle and Abaddon to start the fights. They do have like a ton of heroes that all like really want to jump and blow people up. So if they can like get eyes on the Complexity heroes and like jump behind the lines, just blow people up all over the place, they can definitely take these fights. And Complexity's heroes don't really like do very much damage whenever they're behind. Like OD, Lone Druid, they can obviously scale very well as the game goes later. Very good at just right-click damage.
Yeah.
Batrider, Abaddon, Oracle, like you can help protect those cores. But if the cores fall behind, then they really just don't have the most damage. They have a lot of spells that enable their cores and let them get auto attacks off. Play these long drawn-out fights. But if they aren't able to do that, if the cores don't have the space, then they don't really have a way to kill heroes.
We'll have to see how things pan out. Complexity looking to have their way of playing extra defensive, maybe stall things so that their cores can evolve into big powerhouses in the later game, while MP possibly looking to ramp things up much sooner than that. We get underway here. It's our lower bracket final matchup, a best of 3. Winner of this is going to be moving on into the final to face DC, who are waiting. And, of course, in the winner of that series is going to qualify for the 1 spot to make it to the DAC land to represent America. Very tight matchup here. People on paper would probably put this damn near 50-50. as MP are fighting their way back through a lower bracket run at the moment. Doesn't look like anything too fishy as far as lanes for MP's side. They will be rolling with what looks like Mojo to the off lane at his solo at the moment. SVG will take the mid lane block, and we'll see if he decides to go one way or the other. And for Complexity side, for now Z-Freak is going to be blocking this mid lane, but we'll see how long he plans on hanging around. The last time they had this lineup, they went with the level 1 kind of gank play, and they used the sticky napalm to really secure and to get the slow and finish off the first blood, but this time he's holding on to the point, so we'll see if he plays it a bit different.
Yeah, Envy actually expecting that, going for the stick level 1, getting one of the slippers and then ferrying out the second with the bounty rune gold. So a little bit of an adjustment to what we typically see from the starting build, but it's actually going to be kind of wasted, the early stick, as the Bat's going to be starting top.
Very interesting here. A change up here from Cole as they show off again the unique 4-position meta zoning Z-Freak Batrider here, as they will dual lane it out and he will force back the Dazzle and be at the assistance of Monkeys so he cannot get overpowered by this pesky bear. Below, we're having our own bully action as Swindle Melons is dealing with SVG right up in his face. Moo is going to have to put some attention on it. What do you think about the matchup down here in the bottom lane in the 2v2?
I think they're going to have a fine time. I don't think they really have too much kill potential on either side unless SVG maybe gets some like lucky bashes or Swindle's caught a little bit out of position, but I think the Soldier will just be content like chilling down here and farming. They don't have the greatest ways to pressure him. Once maybe they have like some more levels, they can maybe threaten a kill. But it's kind of difficult as he can always just roar the Spirit Breaker back unless the Nyx stuns both his bear and the Lone Druid.
It's a bit early on, but Moo is leading in the CS 7 already as he nails down most from the bottom lane. Cancel dishing out the bit of harassment here on Envy as both sides are going to be traded, and we're going to be seeing our first charge of the game. SVG heads his way towards the mid lane, then quickly cancels it. So decides to round back the corner. It looks like an express trip to get to the boundary rune, actually. So he'll wait for that and be able to nab it up and take that one away from Complexity side.
Yeah, I think this choice or this decision to put the Abaddon up top with the Batrider is like absolutely massive. You can't just let the Ursa have a free lane versus Abaddon. It'll get too far out of hand too quickly, and we've seen in the past how well Aoi does on this Ursa whenever he is given a good start. They typically go for like more the traditional like phase boots, HOD, Vlad, just a lot of armor auras on this Abaddon. So you want him to get up to that point where he can just start, whacking down these towers in the off lane, rotate around and start the 5-man going. And if he's, getting level 6 at 10 minutes into the game, then it's not really like the timing they want to be hitting, where the point where this Abaddon can just walk around and take fights. So
yeah,
starting the Batrider up here gonna give him a considerably better start than he would have had.
And everyone's suddenly now a magician because the Batrider out. I mean, by the sake that everyone has a magic wand, now he now picks up one of his own. Rose already has his. We saw that Envy had one too. Everyone's got everything ready just in case the Z-Freak makes an appearance in really any lane now. But he's still holding that extra point as well. Before he favored an early boost into the flame break here. But obviously waiting to see if he needs to favor one or the other. Bottom lane, SVG charging on the Moo is going to get quickly shrugged off with a Savage Roar. And we're seeing still a bit of a stalemate between all lanes here. How about the mid lane matchup? No surprise, it is Cancel starting to lead out ahead here. 15 and 10 denies to Envy's 12 and 2.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant lane for the Ember once the ODE starts getting once he starts getting some more levels. You get more levels in the Essence Sword and you start hitting Q onto the Ember. There's not too much he can do about it.
I caught the action there in the bottom lane. Swindle, it seems like, I don't know if he was too much out of position, but SVG was able to line up a good enough shot, and it allowed MSS to follow it up with his own bit of lockdown, and at that point, you're just eating so much CC that you can't really get away. So Swindles will be your first blood. MP will pick it up, and he'll have to make the quick TP rotation back in the action here. So good head start here for MSS. I wonder if that's going to be enough for SVG to continue to roll around a bit. Meanwhile, top lane, Aoi gets the upper hand on the Monkeys and will finish him off, taking the moment, I'd imagine, while Z-Freak was out of the lane.
Yeah, I think he'd back to pick up the bounty rune or, get a ward from the courier, and Monkeys gets a little over aggressive and goes down there. So a nice boost from AY, but coming right back up on the Batrider, continue to just mess with him as 16 CS on the Abaddon versus an Ursa in lane. Definitely pretty happy with how things are going so far, but
Don't
Getting
curse
pressured
him.
again.
Yeah, don't curse him. Here comes the charge now. Suddenly SVG's here to play. The cow finds connection. They're looking to pop the shield. He has another one ready. That one gets popped too. Z-Freak's trying to help out, but he gets dropped, but the Monkeys classic deny is there. And Z-Freak will deny himself up into the neutral creeps. All right, double denies coming out. MP will rotate over for it, but they totally bully everyone out of the lane, and Aoi can get back to it.
Yep, and now with Monkeys did use his TP for that, so just has to walk back to the lane. So they're gonna have a little bit of free time up in this lane. And now with them both going down a couple of times, only level 4 and 3 on the Abaddon and Batrider respectively, whereas AUI almost up to level 5 on the Dazzle as well, so having a little bit of a level advantage here. And now with the phase boots on the Ursa, they're gonna start having a rough time up in this top lane. It went well early, but now they have some levels, it's gonna start to degenerate into what NP won.
Maybe Cole can go to the bottom lane and try to find a way to balance the power, if you will. A chase onto MSS here. They'll get the next stack. He's trying to south through it. Goes up to the high ground. There wasn't even a shrine there to begin with. But there, Cole do get their own response where you're taking advantage of us in our top lane. They'll at least get something going there in the bottom. And a fight for the 6-minute rune between Envy and Z-Freak. Envy just throws out the chains, and they're both going to be incorrect. The rune was actually top.
Yeah, at the very least for this mid lane, we saw it going in Cancel's favor a little bit early in their lane, but once you get some levels onto the Ember Spirit, get like level 5, 6, you can retreat to the jungle and just farm camps, jump from camp to camp with the remnants, and then take whatever creeps push into the tower. Cancel doing a good job of making sure the lane doesn't shove though, so just last hitting onto his tower, free farming the lane, but MB not going to be too sad about that as he can just farm all the jungle camps all day, all night, as he can heal with the TP remnant at any time.
Now, during that moment, we saw, of course, Monkeys pull out yet another classic self-deny. He is the best at doing that. Is that fair to say? I mean, we saw him do it yesterday, too. I think he clutched out like 5 in one game. 5 self-denies. Here he already pulls out 2. Like, he purposely gets the early point and miscoil for these kind of situations, and he somehow always will clutch it out. But good for him. It still is going to be nice for Aoi, though, getting the space in the lane. Yeah, he doesn't get the gratification of finishing off the guy, but nonetheless, they'll get back into work, and it's a nice little head start for MP. It's a very early peak at the net worth. It's only about 500. It's nothing too exciting. Most of Complexity's momentum is here in the bottom, I'd imagine, in the hands of Moo and his Lone Druid. Highest in CS and highest in net worth at this moment.
Yeah, having a very good start, and it's what you want to have on the Lone Druid. A hero that isn't particularly amazing from behind, is you can kind of just get run at, and also with some of the damage nerfs, and also needing to get to like that level 15, get to the Maelstrom Mjolnir before he gets to those items, and the level 15 doesn't really have the highest damage ever. But
Moo, when he plays the Lone Druid, though, he will often go for the Radiance build-up, the classic Lone Druid. Do you think that would be ill-advised this time? Something we could possibly see here? I see, he's got the glove for now. He's got a Midas, actually, in his queue. It looks like he might go for the old-school build again.
Yeah, I think it's a decent Radiance game. Obviously, very good versus the Ursa. They have the Abaddon E to buff up like his pushing power. Although I feel like they may run a little bit low on damage. They may go for sort of like this this Radiance up in front bear build, and have the OD play more of a farming scaling role. I'll have to see what they go for. It could just be a casual Midas and then go into your traditional Lone Druid, but he does take the point in the ultimate early, so it seems like he is going to be going for that Radiance build.
I think anytime he plays this hero, he goes for the Radiance build. I mean, I don't know if he's stubborn or he's he's one of those like, this is how Lone Druid should be played. All right, I'm not going with this 2017 new Millennium shit, but he's been doing this every time. He got a win last time, I remember, but we'll see. Top lane, we catch the back end of it. No deny this time, Monkeys. Aoi will get the upper hand, pops out the ultimate and everything just to help get it done. And now MP will pull themselves ahead 3-1. Bottom lane, looking for more. SVG charging in, hits it right onto Swindlemelons. They followed up with the stun, the Vendetta, and that Oracle is gone. Didn't even have the level 6 for the get out of jail free card. It looks like they will get the response though. We will pull down with the root. Monkeys rotates in too, and they will get the takedown of SVGesus. And now we're at 4-2. Still going pretty sweet for MP, I'd say overall.
Yeah, I think the start is at least decent enough for what they wanted. All their core is getting pretty good farm, and we're working towards that. available. Like we talked about with Moo going for the going for this Radiance build, or at least he may be. Cancel is going to be going for the Midas on the OD, so something we've seen some players do SECC, goes for the Midas on the OD almost every game, but a lot of the NA and EU ODs will go for like the no Midas, go for like start
Yeah.
camp hike first, sometimes even the Atos, so he's going to be going for that Midas, a little bit greedier of a build, and like we talked about, he does scale extremely well this game.
It's just funny because I feel like the Midas buildup, I'll have to hold that thought possibly. Bomb lane is just action on for a bear. They would love to get 300 gold for that one. The Midas buildup on OD feels also like an old school American thing too. I remember seeing a lot of like Columbus. Oh, okay, hold on here. Charging in Envy, looking to get the quick snipe of Z-Freak. Forced to take to the skies. He gets the help with the shield, the stun connection from MSS. They lock him down with the help of the Carapace stun. They'll finally get the finish there. Envy sets up another possible kill. Monkey's looking to retreat, has no more borrowed time. They'll slash down and get the bigger finish onto Moo. And it will be a favorable trade for NP as they just ambush into the Complexity Woods.
Yep, using that the first blink reveal, it's a great success. They do bring down Moo. You really want to hit a good timing for that Radiance Midas. You can have a high impact on this hero. But going down there, and he's going to lose his tower, so the places where he can farm are going to be greatly limited as MP are going to get aggressive wards up. Whenever you lose map control early on versus Spirit Breaker versus an Ursa, and Ember Spirit who's had a good start and is going to start just controlling the map, he's not going to have the easiest of times to farm around this map, so
yeah,
he's going to immediately TP up the top and maybe try and pressure this tower so Cole can get a little map control of their own going.
Yeah, this feels like some real unfortunate timing for Cole. If both Moo, who is just about finishing his Midas, or did he just finish it, whether the case, same with Cancel. And a lot of people say Midas is at its worst right after you get it. So you have a point here where MP are hitting a power peak with the blink coming out on the Ursa, you know, taking advantage of a point when Z-Freak doesn't have a blink dagger yet. He's trying to farm it and could be delayed even further here if he's picked off. MSS is looking to go in for the kill. Owie has jumped in, hit with the prison, but MSS is still on the prowl, gets the connection, gets the takedown, turns back with a stun, and they'll also get the finish onto Cancel. These guys might have just gotten their Midases, but the farm that's going to be coming as a follow-up is going to feel pretty damn limited as they are going to be losing a lot of casualties, it looks like, in these upcoming skirmishes. Monkeys to be next. Pops out the borrowed time, is going to be able to fend off the trouble. Another follow-up route here onto Envy. Moo is just watching his bear from the high ground. But it is going to get MP off their case and back into the lanes.
Yep, but Lundru did TP up here. I think the Abaddon did as well. So they sort of have a few heroes stranded up here. Z-Freak will go down to bottom and pick up this farm that's getting pushed into the tower. But yeah, with the OD going down right after picking up his Midas, is going to scale a little bit slower, but still a hero that does farm very quickly and also benefits from the attack speed. So even though Midas is typically considered an item that doesn't, you know, that makes you considerably worse at fighting, is a hero that can use the attack speed, but Z-Freak goes down.
Yeah, poor Z-Freak, man. He just put together another, you know, couple hundred gold to get himself up to 800 or so. Gets brought down again. Reset. And, you know, the dreams of the Blink Dagger are going to be put on hold once again. Anywhere he goes, it looks like MP are ready to stalk and take advantage of as they are swarming through here. Moo tries to head back towards the top lane, and, you know, we have MSS prowling around. Rose shows himself in the lane, but, you know, it's always kind of fishy to see a Dazzle alone. So it's very concerning here for Complexity at this moment. They just need to find a way to stall out and find farm, and I don't know. They're at the point where they just can't take a fight, so it's just a very awkward position.
Yeah, Cancel actually going for the 10 movement speed over the 250 mana talent as well, so you can see how intent they are on, you know, just this kiting, staying out of range of NPs, just sort of run at you heroes. Ember, Nyx, Ursa, Spirit Breaker, they all just want to get up in your face, so a little surprising. It's actually the first time I've seen anyone take the movement speed over the mana, but is at least up to 120 or 1200 mana, so has enough for the auto cast on the level 2 Arcane Orb, which is what he has skilled up, so we'll be able to farm without having any worry of getting his mana run out now.
Now, obviously, a good opportune time for MP to move in and go for the Roche, and it's going to get taken down there just between Owie and SVG. Complexity have been pushing out through this top lane, but trouble could be approaching soon. MSS begins to stalk Monkeys here a bit. Hiding under that Vendetta. Envy nearby, but doesn't want to get too close. Sentry is in lane. And they'll fend off. Back at mid lane. Possible move here for Owie. He gets blasted pretty dang hard from the combo coming out from Melons. They hit him with a prison. They're waiting the time to flame break. They bump him back. Carapace comes down from MSS, though, and locks him in their spot. And the turnaround will come out. Cancel's going to get hit with a, false promise here, but he eats a lot of damage. Once he comes out, he'll get killed. And it's going to be a 2-0 trade, another one for MP as they pull ahead 11-3. SVG will line up the shot, gets the charge, the stun is there. Borrow time is going to be committed, and they will probably walk him home. No, he turns back. He's like, I'll hide under the tower. There's nowhere to run, monkeys. You're dead. He goes down, and Owie's on a mega kill streak. NP looking pretty dang good for game number 1. And Complexity, they're trying to find their way to get into farm. They're just nowhere near the potential they need to be at. Moo has slated to get a Radiance, but he's about to die. He gets jumped again. SVG rolls up there, hits him with a bash. There's a couple of stuns. He gets the roar off, but he's limping. He's running. Can he make it away? Oh, he'll actually make
His
it
bear
out.
may kill him, actually.
Okay, a jump in from Z-Freak. Gets the snag onto Owie, pulls him back. They'll manage to burst down the Aegis. Rose, though, will casually bop him a few times to go for the finish onto Z-Freak. Jumping forward now, Owie with his second life gets the quick takedown of Melons. And MP pull ahead even further. It's easy as pie as it's 3-14.
Yeah, and this is sort of one of the issues that people have, found with this Oracle hero is that, it's really nice whenever they have just, 1 or 2 big disables and you purge it off and then you take the fight from there because, they have no more stuns. You can just sort of kite them around. But whenever they have 15 stuns, purging 1 sort of loses its significance. And so the ult ends up just being a way of, the OD can beat a couple more attacks off, but it's kind of just delaying the inevitable at this point whenever you can't really turn the fight around whenever you drop that ult.
It's at the point where it feels like anytime Complexity show themselves in the lane, they're just going to be due for an ass beating soon enough. Already, monkeys head towards the top. There's a mark out for them. Doesn't look like any advancement is going to be made here from MP. They're actually going to take the moment to get back and get to their grind of farm. Owie has been putting in the work as he's going to be going for the classic Owie Ursa build up here. It looks like a Deso is going to be next. Helps him siege at the buildings a bit. Seems like whenever they go for these Ursa lineups, they always are lacking strong tower hitters. So Owie, it's always just convenient for Owie to kind of get the Deso.
Yeah, there's also only just a couple of, mids that really are tower hitters. There's like TA and SF. Neither of those like traditional NB heroes, at least heroes they pick up for him. And so, you want your safe laner to be your building hitter, and then it's an Ursa, so obviously not a natural building hitter. The Deso also just pairs well with the Midas Armor from the Dazzle. Very good versus the Ursa and the OD. Heroes that don't like buying armor items at all until the game goes considerably later, until they get like the AC and the Shivas, but that's 35 minutes plus the way this game is looking, so gonna be putting in some work until they have those armor items.
Dude, Light of Heaven always hits that shrine thing. Stop it. He hits it like every time. Like every time this guy's casting, he always hits that shrine. It just bugs me. All right, anyways, MSS lurking, waiting mid lane. Little does he know, he's just parked under a ward, and they'll finally stop playing Possum and look to strike here. Can they get the kill between the 3? He pops the Carapace. It's going to stun them all, but as he weasels his way out through the other side, he will miss connection with his stun. Meanwhile, they're able to get the jump onto Z-Freak and finish him off. I heard SVG leading in with another strike, but we're going to keep action over here. Envy moving in for Swindles. He tries to save himself, but here comes the charge. A follow-up play should earn them the right. Cancel will try to save him with the prison, but now finds himself in a bit of trouble. Forces out, but Owie's easily able to chase and get the secured finish. Cancel's going to be out of this one. 45 seconds without a buyback. MP still need to just even go for tier 2s. They still have a tier 1 in the top lane to take down. They just know that, this is exactly what they had set out to do with this draft. They knew that this was going to be a big swell for them, and they're taking full advantage of everything they have, worked for through the laning stage.
Yep. Moo is desperately farming towards that Radiance, has the Relic now, so we'll have it reasonably soon, and maybe they can look to take some fights off of that, but you can see the net worth, the cores are pretty even as it is, maybe a little bit NP favored, but if you look at the Oracle compared to, say, the Dazzle, it's a massive net worth difference. Already a Solar Crust up on Rose, and Odie and the Bear, not heroes. No, I guess the Bear's not a hero, but not units that really ever like to buy MKBs or anything that lets you hit through that evasion. So the Solar Crest is going to have a pretty massive impact at mitigating this OD's damage.
Maybe Complexity now feeling a bit pressured here. They smoke to head out and maybe look for a hopeful opening here. They had possibly just gandered at the crossing there of NP. They frantically ping near their shrine, but they'll take their business up. It looks like this is going to be a smoke movement to maybe get some aggressive wards down. Swindles holds a couple here. Yeah, he drops some down now, hoping to get some use out of those in the future. Soon enough, though, they may need to respond to the bottom lane, but they do see an opening possibly for Rose here at the top, but the rotations are going to be coming out. MP want to defend their tier 1. It would look like below, Envy looking to lead in early. Looks like he's trying to get the jump on the cancel here. He's been surrounded. The shield's out to help him. SVG looking to roll through, get the connection onto Swindle so he can't save him with the ulti. But he's going to be able to survive, just barely. Z-Freak helps him out, connects with the lasso, holding down SVG in his place. Cancel returns into the fight, will help get the finish onto SVG. Swindle saves himself. Owie barely holding on, trying to run the back end, gets the grave right there at the end, and we'll be able to walk away. The chase continues here, though, as the rest of MP are going to be able to clean out the rest of Cole. They have to go on full retreat mode, and they will do so. They lose
That
2.
was insanely close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he popped his ult at like, just like, you know, 10, 20 HP and then gets healed up, graved. They do end up getting the OD kill, but that's sort of a sign for, you know, what Complexity's draft can do if they get these long drawn out fights, if they can sort of delay the initiations. Envy got several slight chains off, but the Ursa coming in late to the fight, I think was low, pushing in one of the waves, so saw him almost go down at this. OD can start to build up those stacks, can hit very, very hard.
We'll have to see. I mean, I gotta say, you know, MP are definitely taking a lot of fights. They're winning all these exchanges. Their objective follow-up, though, is a bit slow. I mean, we still have this tier 1 in the top lane. They have tier 2s to get to. I'm still looking at a lot of time in this game left for Cole to continue farming and to get Moo a bit bigger, to get Cancel a bit bigger. And I would start, you know, sweating just a little bit here if you're MP. Like, how do you resolve that, though, if you're like them? Like, how do they kind of move forward with the process of this game?
I mean, they just have to continue taking these fights, continue killing heroes, because that's really what their draft is good at. They can scale quite well later on if they have, you know, a reasonable amount of items. Ember and Ursa definitely not pick off potential to scoff at, and they just have so many ways to start the fight. Whereas Complexity, they really don't have fight starters. They can only wait for NP to jump them and then react to it and, you know, draw the fights out, stop them from blowing an initial hero up. So NP, you know, they sort of always have the ball in their court to start these fights, to get the jumps and try and take the fights. As Moo almost kills Envy bottom with the Radiance burn, but let's get the tower and get out.
Top lane, MSS has walked through and towards the sentry, and they try to catch him, and they pop out the dust, and it looks like they've spotted him. He comes out through the Vendetta, and Complexity will make him pay. Now this is their top lane. And they're going to continue their parade, and it's going to be on MP to defend it here. They are getting a bit of split push pressure here from Owie coming through this bottom lane. And he is not someone you want to sleep on if he's able to get inside the base. We've seen him in a previous game able to rat his way through a set of racks. But Cole are looking to get the finish on the top tier 2, and it looks like they will be able to do so here. Moo, obviously with Radiance in hand, looks to be going for an AC next. Already sports a good chunk of change. And by the time we're getting to this point, the Roche is up now. MP are obviously going to want it. They have a great Roche team, but I think Complexity would do pretty fair in taking a fight near this pit if one was to break out.
Yeah, they also kill Roshan at a pretty decent clip themselves.
Yeah.
The Lone Druid does a fair amount of damage to the Roshan. They have the Abaddon, Curse of Avernus to speed it up. Envy cutting waves here, so trying to keep the map control, keep these lanes pushed in, so Complexity has a hard time moving around, as they really want this BKB on AUI before they take this Roche fight, as he was farming it up there, had just completed it. And now with the lanes pushed in, you could probably expect to see NP either smoke up towards this Roche area or migrate there, and you can see Complexity playing around it as well. So both teams knowing this Roshan is sort of a linchpin of how this game is going to go. NP really, really want this, like you said.
And they smoke
this sort of a running U lineup.
Yeah. Envy's starting to build into what looks like a Battle Fury. At least he has one set in queue, a bit of the old school Ember now. I don't know, maybe recognizing that they're going to have to bring some late game damage. And leading in with some early cleave, maybe just to get the faster flash farm or split push those lanes even further and faster. Whatever the case may be, the adjustments are being made from MP as they recognize and respect Complexity's lineup as it slowly begins to all evolve from the early and the mid game. Could become a bit of a problem as the game does progress and all of their members begin to farm up some new items that could potentially kite around Owie's Ursa and even out-muscle what could have been like a, the magic damage kind of Ember Spirit.
Yeah, playing the burst Ember versus like the Oracle and the Abaddon can get a little weird. OD also probably gonna buy a BKB at some point later in this game. And then you just sort of have this time frame where, you're all about bursting one individual hero, but they have so many ways to save people between the Astral and the Oracle and the Abaddon that you don't really want to, throw a triple remnant down and then they BKB or something, it does no damage, and then you have no damage left for the fight. So it's going to give him more drawn out damage with the, the constantly Battle Fury cleaving, get out a gazillion slights, and, start realizing that we can't do just this all in, because if, they ever save the hero, then the fight will turn super grim for us. So sort of, not putting all their eggs into this, we're going to kill one hero and then take the fight from their basket.
Still both teams coasting around this Roche pit. And it's going to be Cole who popped the smoke and looked to head right up into NP territory here. Ascending up through the staircase. MSS is close by. It will pop the smoke first. They begin to head that direction, but he's already blinked away. Oh, but he didn't make it all the way out. Pops the Carapace right as the jumping comes out. Owie looks to make his pounce, and the Bat Rider's going to be gone. And now it's going to be MP moving in to hope to take a big fight here. Cancel has sidestepped a bit as Envy looks to scurry back the back lines. SVG's going to be forced out up north and away from trouble as Envy will chain the rest of them down for MSS to line up a nice stun. Now the good Savage Roar comes out from Moo, forces the rest of MP back. Triple Remnant right back in from Envy, trying to re-engage. Cancel gets a shield and forces Envy back. Now Moo out from the prison is going to be finished up with a Vendetta there. Cancel trying to retreat also will go down. It looks like MP will be able to take the favorable fight. Cole led into this one with a good smoke movement. Couldn't quite get the jump onto MSS, and it was MSS and his Carapace that kind of led into a good opening of a fight for MP, and now they're going to get rewarded with the Roche takedown.
Yeah, they just never really let Complexity hit anyone. You can see the OD was, had the Astral himself, forced Staff away, and then the Ember went in a little bit, changed him up, but then got glimmered, walking away. The OD just never really had time to put any damage in. As NP, they have so much initiation, so much just jump in, kill a hero, and so many stuns that they're just, even though Complexity's draft is designed to, save heroes and take these long drawn out fights, let the OD get some stacks off. Whenever you're constantly jumping in and out with all these disables, he never really has time to get any hits off, even though these fights are lasting for long periods of time.
Yeah, definitely a lot of survivability for both sides now. It's just it's like a lot of different people getting in the face of Complexity, whereas Complexity have a lot of like more defensive spells. You'll have like an SVG charging in your face, which is like very disorienting. The bear jumping in your face, very disorienting. Getting hit with a Carapace suddenly from a spell you casted just moments ago on another hero. It's very discombobulating for Complexity, while MP are just kind of struggling with getting finishes on Complexity while they just have nice defensive spells. MP take a good fight. It's good. It kind of reassures their dominant position in this game, at least for their own confidence, as they now sport a 15K net worth advantage, the highest one in this game so far. We're still not out yet for Complexity. They have their side of the map.
Was Z-Freak going down at the beginning of that fight as well? They lost really their only control. So was sort of like the perfect scenario for NP. I think they had a ward down during that fight as well, so they knew where all the Complexity heroes are. We're playing around it really well.
Trying to go for the finish on the bear, and they'll get it. That's one bear down. MP now use that. Move forward. Time to get this tier 2 finished. Up top lane, look at this. Envy's on the chase for Moo. Gets him down with the chains. It's going to force out the Savage Roar and a TP. He's gone. No rest here for Cole. No moving to a side lane to try to split pressure. MP get back to the mid lane tier 1. They're going to leave Envy up to the top lane to kind of bring back the equilibrium. But MP are getting closer and closer into high ground sieging territory, and what do you think about their capabilities as a team to be able to breach in the high ground? I mean, I'm looking at their draft, and I would be, you know, a little suspect. They might need a fight going into it.
Yeah, as far as just hitting the high ground goes, never doesn't really work that well versus like a Bat Rider versus an OD who can just Hurricane Pike you back and steal some int from the Ursa. So probably either going to be looking to jump into the base and develop a hero, which also can be risky because you're an Oracle, you're an Abaddon, so probably just going to be controlling this map. And you know, if Complexity chooses to, this game definitely can go late. As you know, like we said, NP not with the greatest high ground breaching heroes, and Complexity also with heroes that aren't too sad if the game does go a little bit longer than usual.
MP now congregate all the way up to the top lane. They'll get the finish on the final Tier 2 tower, but of course you still got to get inside the base and get the Tier 3 broken down before you can take the shrine. I don't know if Rose was trying to head that way to take it. I'm sure he knows better, but they head up and around the corner, and we'll head out the other direction, it would appear. There is more of a later game insurance policy as Envy's build continues to come. The Battle Fury's already done, and somehow he's already been able to string together the Crystalist, so you know, nice little throwback here. This Ember's going to be dealing serious damage in these fights now. Swindle's potentially at risk, getting charged out, but looks like he is able to make it to the safety of his team indoors. As MP continue to just kind of wait outside. Oh, they didn't get the finish on the mid Tier 2 yet. Now they will. All right, there we go. All Tier 2 down. Now down. Now Cole is suffocating.
It seems like both teams didn't get the memo that it was Sunday. I thought it was Throwback Thursday between the Lone Druid going the Radiance, and now Envy going for the, you know, sort of a hybrid build, going for that Battle Fury and crit after the Veil, which is just sort of a necessity item on that hero now, because he does just do so much magic damage. A little bit of a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Rose has such an insane amount of farm, actually. 10k net worth.
Yeah, Yules and Glimmer and Solar Crest and an Aether Lens on a Dazzle. Okay, mid lane charging in. Owie. Oh man, insta snipe takedown to cancel. He does have a buyback, but the rest of his team might not have the same, and they could be in a serious amount of trouble here. It looks like Swindles is going to be able to creep away. On the other side, though, Monkey's a bit out of position. Zefric was able to TP out, but I don't think he's going to be so lucky. He just gets slashed right there and finished off. He does have a buyback himself. MSS deep down this mid lane. Going to get jumped on and taken advantage of. A bit far from his home. MP are going to be down a Beetle if they want to try to continue their push.
Yeah, just trying to, I think, take down the Oracle inside the base, but they had a Dust and doesn't end up going down. Got kited a little bit, but with the OD down, it's really their best hero for defending these pushes, just piking the Ursa back and then walloping him a few times, forcing him to back up, and then by that time, the Hurricane pikes back up again, and they can just do it all over again. But you know, they do at the very least get that fortification out, and they're going to continue to just farm up these lanes. You can see all of maybe NP's heroes just sort of sliding up to the top of the net worth charts as Monkeys, after getting that Vlad's, really hasn't progressed his items that much really at all.
Yeah.
And unless you're buffing up your cores and you're playing this sort of 5-man style where they don't really have that much damage to bring your heroes down, but NP has so much damage, it's really easy for them to bring heroes down. It just, you sort of start to lose the impact of that Abaddon that you see in a lot of these games where you're just sort of running people over.
And he didn't have any sort of, I guess, relevant farm at the time to move into any sort of like Midas build to try to secure more for late game. Whereas we see that like on the other side with someone like SVG, who's soon going to be overtaking Monkeys in net worth, I'd imagine. You know, we have to see how Monkeys is going to have to deal with the situation where the potential of his hero might be at a bit of a plateau here, aside from just bailing someone out from like a stun nearby. Now Complexity. I don't want to say this is a desperate smoke, but they're looking to definitely get some momentum. Here they come through the top lane. Do have a couple of wards in hand to at least make it worth their time if they do happen to come up short, because the only one nearby is Envy here. And I imagine he may not get caught. As he finishes out his stack, he'll already head back inside the base. The rest of his team all the way down here in the bottom lane, adding pressure there. Cole make their train all the way through the MP side, will drop their one ward, and then that will be the end of their business.
Yeah, these smokes outs like to the other side of the map like that. Obviously, you're looking for a kill, but you're not too sad if you don't get one. As you know, you sort of like split the map a little bit. You take this you know, this sort of top triangle, and they take the bottom one.
Yeah.
Whereas you were just trapped in your base before, so at least they can get some deep wards in, sort of see where NP is headed, so that way they can farm up this jungle It takes like some more of their side of the map. So maybe they're missing one lane, but at least they're getting this entire jungle, and they're sort of poised to get a pick on EE if he comes up with this top line a little over aggressive or whatever. Even though it is a little bit obvious where they are in the map, as their bottom line and mid are quite pushed in. Just a bear sitting there pushing out with the Radiance.
Yeah, MP are like, we're good. We don't need to go to that top lane just yet. We'll wait for the lane to get pushed in and deal with it at that point. But they'll move the rest of their way through the bottom. MSS showing off what looks like a new Agnum Scepter form. I don't know if it's very new or not, but he's got the access to the burrow now, which helps a lot in the case where if the game gets to it and it's going to be Complexity looking to do some high ground sieging. MSS already has a good tool to work with there. But it's MP now smoked up, coasting right by the Roche pit as the timer does get a bit closer. They're looking to see if they can get a catch on Complexity members rolling out, but they have been camping inside this MP Woods for how long now? They have like set up a fire and marshmallows and are just singing campfire songs. They're just hiding. They popped a new smoke, passing around purple stuff. Finally, they'll come out from the woods and maybe look to take a fight. They're crazy, man. Here they go. Seafreak to the skies. And we'll find SVG as he runs back, though. A blink in, a carapace to stun and hold him in a spot. Owie finds the opening for Cancel, looks to go for the finish. Cancel slides himself towards Rose, and they'll get the job done there. Cancel out of this fight. Envy gets the lock between both of them. They look to take Moo out of this. Melon tries to help him out from the high ground here, but there's only so much he can do. The finish is there. Both Moo and Cancel are gone. The rest of the supports are just, okay. Swindle just, like chopped in the neck. One hit KO, it looked like. 7-30, MP, here they come. Can't Complexity do anything about it? One buyback and it's on cancel.
Yeah, like we said, they kind of have armor issues on Complexity. Really, they have the AC on the Lone Druid Bear, but other than that, no real armor at all. 5 and 6 on most of their heroes. And they just kind of get chunked down once the level 3 weave starts to have some impact.
Here they come, using that Deso. Chopping away, the tier 3 is gone for. That means access to being able to finish out those shrines is available to him. If MP do need to backpedal, there's more gold going to be available. And poor Seafreak here, one more chop. That's the finish, that's the gem. He wants to grab it, finds himself inside a prison. His team, though, looking to come beside him. A jump in from MSS. He throws his body into the fight with the carapace, and they'll get the finish on the cancel. That's going to be game. They're not even going to bother with the buyback. Game 1 of our lower bracket final is going to be going to Team NP. Somewhat convincingly, I'd have to say. It really looks convincing if you look at the score, 32-7.
They're so farmed, even picking up bots there at the end of the game. So that's what happens whenever you have so much map control. When you pick like these pick-off-oriented heroes like the Nyx and the Spirit Breaker, you have this more farm-oriented support, and it gives him some more space on the map. He's a hero that can shove lanes very, very quickly, and scales pretty well with items. Is getting the Glimmer Cape as well, Aether Lens, and the Yule. So like more kiting potential, letting them continue to lock down the Complexity heroes is just not letting them get these attacks in and play the fights they wanted to.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dota 2 Asia Championships American Qualifiers. It's the last day, and this is the lower bracket final right now. It's Team NP going against Complexity in game number 2. NP pretty damn strong coming out of the gate here, rallying behind the EE Ember Spirit and Aoi Ursa. Complexity, unfortunately, were not able to make their Radiance Lone Druid and cancel OD work out. Just kind of committing in with the Midas builds, trying to hope for maybe a bigger push into the later game. Never really happened as Team NP just kind of mowed right past him here. We are into game number 2, and I'm going to be joined once again from AK God CCNC. CCNC, I mean, when you think of America, what do you think about?
That's Sheffy.
That Sheffy. Some of the, you think of the bold, the brave, some good pair of sunglasses, and the best Dota on the planet, to be honest with you.
This is true.
This is true. Let's see what kind of quality American Dotes are in store for us in Game 2 action as we get the draft underway. Complexity, stubborn as ever, going right back for the Lone Druid here. May even again be the Radiance Lone Druid. Moo saying, I am looking to, put Game 1 behind me and bring it again in Game number 2 as they feel a bit more prepared.
Yeah, NP not gonna play round 2 of the same game. They go for the Venge instead of the Ember. Definitely a lot of physical damage between those two heroes as far as just the first couple of heroes in your draft goes. Venge also decent versus the Lone Druid because you can swap them in if you're at a point where you're very, very strong, and you don't mind just being sort of in the middle of their team, so you can swap the Lone Druid in and kill them off.
Yeah.
Things will kind of change though if Moo goes to that Radiance Lone Druid again, but overall, it also just gives your team like a lot of damage versus the bear. Obviously the minus armor is very good versus it, and also here that AUI just likes to play. It doesn't play so much these just hard Ricers so much anymore. Well, from time to time play the Naga, but likes the Ursa, the Venge more than a lot of other carry players.
Did you see his Meepo game the other day?
Did not.
Yeah, he played Meepo. Apparently it was his first time in competitive play. I knew it was something that MP never plays, so at the time I was just like, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Is SVG like a hidden micro god or something? But, then it was pretty obvious it was Aoi. I mean, this guy has played, as you mentioned already, the Naga. He's played Visage before. Pretty decent showing on the Meepo, but I don't know if it's something that they're going to fall back to again in the future or not. Nonetheless, just going with the statement you were saying, Aoi continues to impress with his ridiculous hero pool and changing how he likes to play the style of his core, whether it's greedy and farming or if it's more making fights happen. We'll see if the Vengeful Spirit is what's going to be in store for him in this game as we move forward. Complexity go right into what looks like a cancel Shadow Fiend here. I am already anticipating that we could maybe see Clockwork and get the Shadow Fiend abuse. We've also been in store with a lot of that in these qualifiers. It's been an interesting qualifier, I'll say.
Yeah, teams will do that from time to time, depending if it's a nice Clockwork game or not. You don't typically pick it just for that combo, but it's sort of like, oh hey, we have Clockwork and Shadow Fiend. Let's make our mid lane unfair. Well,
yeah, Onyx are not afraid to do that. That's exactly what they did too. There's like, first 2 picks, Shadow Fiend, Clockwork. Let's make mid lane hell. Like that's actually how it felt for Onyx at the time. But I would agree, maybe if the Clockwork seems a bit more appetizing this game. Would you believe it? They actually banned the Meepo. They banned the Meepo, just in case. Even though they only played it once, and they lost with it. Not because of the Meepo, but, Complexity just, they don't want that. They don't want that funny business here. They get rid of it.
Yeah, I think originally it was going to be MSS that was going to be learning the Meepo. He was spamming it in pubs for a few days.
Oh.
But I think Aoi just like the more natural candidate to playing like these micro heroes. He was Grandmaster with StarCraft 2, plays Chen, plays Visage, obviously all those heroes back whenever he played support. So
yeah,
it's just a very micro, capable player. So I think it's more suited to his strengths to be playing the Meepo. Also a very farm oriented hero, which isn't typically what MSS plays on this team.
Do you think like new age Dota heroes just are like they're just more not fond of playing like micro-intensive heroes? It's more the people who came from like that RTS play style in the past, going from playing Warcraft into the custom games and into Dota, coming from a background of playing StarCraft, let's say, or even just playing the campaign game. It feels a bit more natural to kind of jump into Dota and play something like Chen, who has units to work with, and Aoi's kind of an old school player. I'm curious to see if a lot of the new blood, A lot of the new blood I feel are the kids who want to come in. They want to play mid lane and style. Come on, CCNC, you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, we don't see a lot of the players who are just like, oh, we got to get the micro out here. Who's good with the fingers? Who wants to do all that? Who wants to go through the sweat? But, you know, it happens, though. I would say a lot of the mid laners, too, like even Arteezy and stuff. You had those phases in metas where you had to play, like, mid lane Nagas and stuff.
Yeah, and he took his turn to learn Meepo. Miracle learned Meepo.
Yeah.
They played it in one of their matches. So, you know, these super high skill, all these 9K players, they can definitely, you know, they have the capability to play Meepo. It's more of like if it suits their style or, you know, if they have put the time in the past into learning it, because you kind of just have to spam it for like a week before you learn how to play that hero.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of odd and it's funky and it like messes up how you normally play Dota. Because it's still like, you know, you're still just playing Dota and just on a hero with like slightly different facets to it, but you do definitely have to think about like your hero in a different way.
We will be treated to at least a little bit of micro action, I guess you could say. The Illusion Gaming of a Terrorblade going to be coming out for MP. It was a classic in the past, the Envy Terrorblade. We suspect more Aoi possibly playing the hero here in this case, but something that I'm sure Envy is just always fond of, and him being the drafter after all. Throws it right into his very color-coordinated lineup. And then Complexity respond right away. They get a Shadow Demon here. Now, I don't think there's room in this lineup to wiggle in the Luna, but Shadow Demon overall has still been a pretty solid just support pick. Has great, you know, scaling capabilities with Disruption and the illusions that he can use from Terrorblade. And obviously his Purge is really nice and a way to even bail out allies if they're in trouble. So what do you think about the Shadow Demon being picked up? Is it just more of a direct response to the Terrorblade, or is there anything more to it?
Yeah, I think it's mostly just a direct response to this Terrorblade. It's also pretty decent versus the Venge. Neither of those heroes are super mobile, so you can make illusions of them, soul catcher them up, and then ulti them, and they kind of just sit there and beat themselves to death a lot of times.
Yeah.
Until they have like the Hurricane Pikes online.
5 seconds remaining.
They do at the very least have the Dazzle to sort of like pre-weave them, so maybe they don't beat themselves to death if they get disrupted. And it is kind of hard for a Shadow Demon to just walk into those heroes to get the disruption off, but you know, may see him go for like a Blink Dagger and Aether Lens, those type of items, so he can make sure he gets that disruption off. Because just giving a Terrorblade like free reign in the game is not really what you want to do. Is he has a very nice time in the mid game versus Lone Druid and SF.
Since then, MP picks up the Sand King here, classic Mojo hero, great for initiation and team fight. Which on the team fight aspect of things, they were running a bit short on. So it kind of just balances out the lineup quite significantly here. Can help get to the backline Lone Druid, let's say, or even backline Shadow Demon. And look at this, Complexity, go back to the Rolodex of old lineups a little bit. And we're going to be seeing what looks like a Z-Free Kunkka come back into play here. All right. A classic duo, the Kunkka Shadow Demon CCNC. Lots of easy setups there, of course, Torrents, disruptions, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this tri lane goes. NP typically will go for this whenever they pick the Sand King. They almost always pair it up with the Dazzle, and they do this dual offline, which is what they have here. So we'll see if they do go for that. They do have some kill potential. You know, obviously they have the Shadow Demon Kunkka. Lone Druid, not the greatest early laner, and can get bullied pretty hard. By this Sand King Dazzle. So we'll see if they pick up like a third laning support. See who they pick the Kunkka. Okay, so NP has the last pick, I believe.
Complexities turn
actually, am I wrong?
No, you are.
I'm right.
You are right. I can't remember.
I'm right.
Did they never fix that glitch where if it's like Dire as first pick or whatever, the indicator's wrong? I don't even know if they actually fixed that or not. Well, I guess we'll find out in a moment.
I'm not sure. Oh, I forgot there was even an indicator. I was just thinking about it in like the order or whatever. I forget from time to time. But yeah, so MP has the last pick, so they'll get to choose if they want to put the Sand King in a 1v1 versus whatever Complexity's offlaner is, or if they want to do like an aggro tri lane, if they want to do dual lanes. So they sort of have like the last pick on how they want to, you know, set their lanes up.
Yeah,
which is pretty nice for them, especially in a game like this. You want your heroes to get off to a good start. They may also want to consider picking more of a greedy support, a hero that can like give the Venge a nice start in the lane and then rotate to this mid lane and sort of sop it up after a while, because you will see E do that quite a bit. He'll get like level 3, you know, sometimes even level 3, but a lot of times like level 5, and then he'll just pick up an Iron Town, he'll go to the jungle, and he'll just farm there and stop up the creep waves whenever they get pushed in.
Weaver.
Well, Weaver is going to be the choice for complexity
Dire
here.
team
Plays a bit more to the armor game that Shadow Fiend brings, and does mean that it is going to be either an offlane Lone Druid or an offlane Weaver for Cole. I suspect more Monkeys offlane Weaver to be the case. In a matchup where
10
he'll be in a
seconds
lane,
remaining.
though, against, Terrorblade and company.
5 seconds remaining.
You'd think it would be an offline Weaver, but
Reserve
I've
time.
always seen Moot play the Weaver. I've also always seen Moot play the Launcher, so it's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
Weaver at the very least has a nice time versus Sand King in a 1v1. So if they're expecting like NP to go for some sort of an aggressive tri lane, it'll work there.
10
Lone Druid can also have a
seconds
pretty decent
remaining.
time in most 1v1s, and then the Weaver, a very strong tri lane hero, obviously, so that they
5
go for this
seconds
Sand King Dazzle. We'll have a better time there, and yeah, sort of like we talked about, a greedier hero here that has a lot of kill potential in this duel offlane, and then whenever the Terrorblade leaves, can come mid and stop up some of this stuff, stop up some of the XP and creeps while he's in the jungle. Also gives us some more lockdown. With these last two picks, they sort of split their lineup a little bit as far as damage goes. They were very physical oriented with the first three, and then going for the Sand King and the Lion, so not like all in.
Yeah.
Not letting complexity, just build some armor items, and they just don't take any damage.
It's just a balanced lineup pretty overall now. I mean, you have the nice defensive support and your Dazzle to kind of bail anyone out in need and amplify as far as the armor goes. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, Lion to help with the lockdown even further, the bursting potential. You have your team fight with your Sand King. Feels pretty good. Complexity, though, going,
10
a bit more
seconds remaining.
complexity with the draft. They fall back for the Kunkka once again. And I don't know what the
5
hell Monkeys
seconds
is going to
remaining.
play, but they are going to just pull out something a bit different. Maybe trying to, as you said, read the lanes coming out from MP and just get the more favorable hero versus hero matchup in the lanes. It's going to be intriguing here. SVG is so excited about this game he couldn't even hold it in. So he's going to head to the bathroom real fast, and we'll wait for him on his return. Even SVG's his piece,
I
But-
wonder if Monkey's misclicked because he's skilled Rabid level 1. Dude, they're pulling the Fada, dude. They're pulling a Fada.
Oh, they
Dude,
did.
they're Fadaing.
Oh, you're right. A misskill due to pause. Oh, are they actually going to go for it? They did. They're going to go for it. They're going to allow it. Okay. MP. They're not even waiting for the go-ahead from the admin if he's going to say if it's fine or not. They just all agree. It's the player's life after all. Okay, so let me switch to this wait screen as we disconnect and reconnect here.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know how you messed it up because of a pause, but we'll give it to him on this one.
Yeah,
we
you
will
can
have
see
to wait.
he was a little tentative about it. He was like, "All right, XD."
Well, I don't even know if the admin was there, so we have to wait for the admin to make the lobby. I know all the players were quick and ready to kind of jump into a new one, but we do have to wait. The admin could technically just leave as the draft is underway, because at that point the game kind of moves forward. So hopefully the admin's at attendance here, but I'll probably just throw on the jams here for a second just to make sure he knows what's going on and that we can get a new lobby underway. So sorry guys, what will happen is we'll hop into a new lobby. It'll probably be all pick. They'll fire through the picks and we'll get into a new game. Bit of an awkward way to start game 2, but I'll see you guys soon for the start of it. All right, there. The bumper actually makes it official. We are back now in the draft in an AP game as we look to get started into game number 2. For those of you who are just kind of stopping by and figuring out what the hell's actually happening here, we did have a bit of a delay as we got started into the match. Oh, shit. We get the hype versus screen. Hold on, I got to hide the overlay. Very cool. Man, why don't they have that for captain's mode, right? All right, let me get rid of this stuff. Let's get into it here. Last game started a bit awkward. We had to begin the game, as most games, with a pause, as someone had to use the bathroom. And because of said pause, a certain player over here using the bear, unfortunately, might have misclicked a certain spell at the beginning of the game and, you know, misleveled it. So here we are, now underway into the real game. Let's begin. I'm back, hopefully, with CCNC. Hello, sir. Are you alive? Let me turn you up. Okay, I got you. All right. So, bit of a break, but we're back in action now. He's got the appropriate skill leveled up. No more excuses. It is monkeys, though, playing a lone druid, but now I'm already a bit scared. So, based on the lanes they put out here, it looks like they may just sacrifice him. Not sacrifice him, but they're going to pit him against that duo, and it is going to be the Dazzle MSS duo, it looks like, of this bottom lane.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, they're going to be doing what we expected with Aoi and SVG up top lane, and then Complexity actually going to be going for an aggressive tri lane, so going to try and shut down this Venge early on, as I don't think their tri lane could actually do very much versus the Dazzle and Sand King, and the Lone Druid would have a really rough time versus this dual lane, so I think this is the lane setup that Complexity wants. They won't have an amazing time in either of their side lanes, but I think they'll have a pretty good time in this top lane, even though the Lone Druid will probably suffer down bottom.
The battle begins.
We'll see how much Complexity are going to be able to get for themselves, and punishing maybe Aoi through the laning phase, maybe as a bit of revenge from the previous game in his ridiculously scary Ursa. But they're already looking to make an early mark here. Smoked up, Melons and Z-Freak, brothers in crime, moving out, trying to get a smoke. Gank happening here in the mid lane. Can they do it? Envy on Terrorblade. This guy has no natural escape mechanism. They're going to drop the ward just to really make sure they got the vision. He's really far forward. This is probably your best chance. They're going to go for it. Here we go, CCNC. Can they do it? He does not miss. He gets the correct one. They get the torrent. The right clicks are there. They should be able to do it. The body blocks connecting well. He's trying to run. He goes down. Cancel's going to snipe it with the raise. It's a successful first blood gank on the mid lane. Man.
Yeah, that was pretty close. He almost lived there. Not the worst thing in the world is he can just sort of TP back to lane. It didn't skill the Metamorphosis level 1 and waste it. I think that's maybe what Complexity are going for, try and kill him right when he pops that, so he doesn't have that for the next, you know, the first 2 or 3 waves. Cancel also not having to skill up raise, so not getting the bunch of souls for getting the kill. So not the worst thing in the world for Envy, and we'll TP back in with that Quelling Blade.
Envy will now pop his new pickup of Metamorphosis, though, and be able to zone back cancel quite a bit. Our brothers have rotated now to the top lane and are looking to shake things up towards the pull side now things, as SVG is there trying to work it about. Aoi will try to leech some of the XP nearby as Moo will get involved. This is going to be a bit agitating here for MP, in particular SVG, but not looking to kind of get caught on the bad side of a disruption setup. So keeping good distance there. And for the bottom lane, look at Rose, man. He's going in on this bear. He wants 300 gold. Oh, not able to get the connection there. Just zoning him back all the way as he's trying to pull the wave up under the tower.
Yep. He's having a pretty decent time so far. In this bottom lane, things will start to get a little bit rougher now that MSS has boots and going to have level 2 in the stun, so going to be able to maybe try and threaten a kill. But as of now, SVG just walking deeper in, probably going to clean up the bounty rune here. And I think Complexity not too sad about how things are going so far, as we expected. Aoi having a rough time up here so far.
Okay, they're making their move for him. They hit him with the disruption, a soul catcher, a torrent, and an easy kill will be there. That's the takedown of the Venge, and looking for a follow-up. The X now, leveled up from Z-Freak, gets the pullback for SVG, and they're also going to get that one. Double kill for Melons as Complexity hit MP hard with a nice 3-0 start. Envy's going to be able to grab the top lane Arcane Rune. This is the one good thing going for MP, though, is that Envy is doing work in the mid lane. 15-9 to cancels 8-1. Though he was first blooded.
Yeah, he is. He's having a very nice time here. It's super hard to harass this Terrorblade at all with the 13 armor and Poor Man's Shield as an SF with just 40 something damage level 1. At a certain point, once the cancel gets like level 5 or so, it's going to be pretty hard for the Terrorblade to stay in lane. It's going to get raised down. We'll start to have some damage issues. Not last hitting wise, but trying to deny becomes futile versus the raises. And we'll probably head to the jungle, but it is sort of hard for NP to send anybody to sop up the XP whenever he does go to the jungle because they are getting pressured so hard top. Rose actually leaving bottom lane, leaving MSS to solo so they cannot get totally massacred up in this top lane.
How does that fare? I know that we're going to probably have to keep sights on this top lane as it's a 3-on-3 and already looking to swing. Magic Missile, there's a good stun combo. Move comes out and they hit him with the poison. Now SVG though, man, that's Soul Catcher. So much amp damage. SVG just can't handle it. Turns back, gets the stun, will end up going down. Moo though, in the line of fire here. Will pop the wand, survives a bit. Rose still looking to go on the chase on the other side of things. Z-Freak might have to go for the neutral deny, can't get it there. Owie will get the pick off, looks for a second one, moves in, gets the wave off to Swindle. SVG's back from the dead and looking for revenge. He gets the stun onto Swindle, but Swindle's still running, man. Woo! They get him. SVG with the range hacks will pull it off there. Just a ridiculous bar fight in this top lane.
Yeah, with the Windlace just barely gets in range there. Envy, like we talked about earlier, is having a great time mid, popping his second Metamorphosis up to 26 last hits, now level 5. But you can see this harass starting to weigh in as Cancel just getting a clarity ferried out even and just sort of spamming raises every time EE walks into range.
I wanted to quickly see how things were going for MSS. He was the one that was left to the bottom lane to go mono-e-mono against Monkeys in his bear. MSS is matched up even as far as CS, but Monkeys' levels are starting to come in a bit. I wonder if they switch to Monkeys Lone Druid when they want that 2017 Lone Druid, and they let Moo play the old school one, I'm curious to see the build-up that Monkeys goes for this game. I bet he's going to go for the, new age range Lone Druid.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It can be pretty. You need a lot of farm on that the range Lone Druid for it to do that much. And with a Weaver in your team as well, maybe Moo will play more of a sacrificial role this game. I'm kind of curious what he goes for, because we haven't seen Monkeys play a Lone Druid in the past, and having a Weaver and a Lone Druid on your team is, it's very very farm intensive cores, especially having a Shadow Fiend as well.
Well, you have two supports who are happy to kind of create space for you. They just don't stop finding action here. Top lane. They got that earlier pickoff on Rose, who's already back in the lane. They do a committed dive, looking to go for Owie, but they almost feed themselves over. Swindle going to be going down first, and it could be Z-Freak next here. But they're eating a lot of damage too. Rose very low. The bug nipping him in the feet. Going to get the finish there. Moo with a double kill now. X pull back into Torrent on for Owie. Locks him under the tower. Eats a few more pot shots coming out from Moo. And Complexity really taking advantage of this top lane. Now pulling themselves ahead 7-3. Moo's getting in a lot of the action. Hasn't really spent too much time CSing, but is definitely getting his hands dirty. He's 4-0-2 already.
Yeah, this top lane is really not going how they wanted to for NP. Getting so many kills. Looks like SVG may go down again.
Dodge the bugs. He did, but it doesn't matter. I don't even know if he did. Doesn't matter. He's dead. That's, man, Swindle makes easy connection there, and he's putting the extra points also into Soul Catcher. Not looking to go for any poison this game. It's all on the disruption and the amplification of the damage. Doing work this early game.
Yep, they're rotating in on Rose as well, so like we talked about, Envy going back to the jungle and then we support her to take the XP, but they are going to gank him, make sure to get that free XP and levels while Envy is out of the lane. Those just TP out, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, it was very scary, but no stuns. He will make it out just fine here. Z-Freak now to the top lane. He's getting close to his level 6, and having that boat would just be so sweet in this game. Adds more team fight to the table, good damage, and of course can't forget the good rum for that little bit of extra durability.
Yep, you see Z-Freak playing up here with Moo, sort of like back in the old days with the Cole with Justin on it. They'd almost always be like sort of paired up in this duel offlane. Sort of harkening back to those days whenever they'd always be putting pressure in the enemy safe lane, try and win that lane, and then leave everyone else to the wolves.
Radiant's bottom tower
Oh,
is
jump
under
bottom
attack.
lane. MSS gets to go onto Monkeys, but that's when Complexity look to break out towards this top lane. We see Melons and Z-Freak looking to land their combo, and they will. Owie very low here, and Moo will help get the finish. Mega kill for him.
Radiant structures are fortified.
This does come after, again, that takedown of MSS getting the jump onto the bottom lane with some company. They will get the takedown of the Lone Druid and make it a tier 1. As a trade,
Radiant's bottom
Cole
tower
get the
has
same
fallen.
thing in the top.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, a nice rotation from Envy was farming up in these camps by the Ancients, and then immediately runs down here once he realizes, hey, they're probably making a move towards top. AOI was buried up in the trees and threw out a wave of terror to try and pull the aggro off, but they dive him and he goes down again as he does TP down to bottom. So pairing up with the line, they're gonna go try and make a move as he knows he can't really farm up in this top lane anymore. Sort of like what happened to Boo last game. Whenever you lose your all control of your safe lane like that super early on, they have a lot of kill potential. You sort of have to just run around and try and make other stuff happen.
Now we bottom lane smoked up. And it becomes so awkward for Revenge too. She's not even a big jungle farmer, if you will. So if you're not in a side lane showing yourself farming, you're probably out making a gank
Radiant's
happen.
middle
And
tower is under
that is the
attack.
case now, as
Dire's top
paired up
tower
with
is under attack.
SVG, hoping for Monkeys to just slightly overextend. But even under his own tower, it's not safe. They come in from behind. They're going to be connecting with all sorts of stuns. And even though they stack, it's plenty of firepower to be able to get the finish here. But Cancel shows up, and another TP was forced out, though not committed. They'll just take the one Lone Druid down and walk away.
Yeah, TP was a little bit too long as Cancel had TP'd first, so wasn't able to get that X off, and they are barely able to slip away. So MSS already up to that Blink Dagger, having like a super free lane down here, having Rose start down with him, and then getting the tower, getting a couple of kills on Monkeys with some nice rotations. So now has the Blink Dagger, and they'll probably give AOI this lane as they're going to pull this hard camp and try and reset the lane a little bit back, so giving AOI some space. Maybe MSS just going to farm this, finish up his Blink, and then go around the map and try and make some space for AOI to catch up.
Yeah, definitely time to take some fights here for MP. Time to get this Venge to swell up. She's on a good timing window here. But Cole also on their own move. Smoked and heading towards the southern part of this map. SVG is also nearby with his own little invis rune. So close to just popping the smoke there of Cole, but Cole coming in deep. They plant down a ward. Scouting one of the side camps here from NP, and even one behind the tier 1. All right then. They could end up rolling all the way down and making an approach coming in from behind of MP. We're on the high ground here. Z-Freak goes right down the middle. MSS is waiting within the pocket and could quickly strike with a huge epicenter if Cole are not careful. They're running in. They're looking to go for Owie. Owie swaps back. There's a disruption. MSS is charging it up. He's going to be going in and hitting onto Cole. Onto 3. They get cracked. SVG blasts him down with a finger, and Cancel should also be going down. He turns back with the raise, but will also get popped. Oh, Complexity lose 4 just like that. They were able to get the takedown of Owie, but it cost them so much.
Yeah, it was like a chiropractic session, getting cracked and popped all over the place.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
Now, with those kills, they're going to get the 2-2 bottom as well, so they're going to have a lot more space around here in the enemy jungle. As Complexity don't want to let that happen, they're going to bring people down. They still have the boat on Z-Freak, didn't get used in that last fight.
It might not get used yet, because they just spotted him, stunned him, and killed him. There will be no boat in this fight either. Melons tries to come in to help out his brother, and quickly realizes there's a Terrorblade there, and 180s, but MSS putting in the work with this Blink Dagger that he earned himself through that laning stage has set up another wonderful kill here for MP. Etching now ahead 11-10. All the momentum going their way. This has not been a safe place for Monkeys to return to. Him, top lane, he's been avoiding all this trouble in all this fight and trying to get back into the grind of farm here. And he is also going for the bear build, it would appear, as he has a Midas on the bear.
Yeah, he does have a Midas. Isn't playing in the melee form like Mu was last game, so we'll have to see if he's just going for Midas and then trying to scale a little bit better as the game goes later.
That's true.
But MP taking like all those fights down there is absolutely huge for them, because now they can get these deeper wards down, and they can sort of play around in this bottom lane. MSS shoving out this top lane, and NP most probably gonna try and migrate back down to here, play in this area, maybe wrap around this mid tower. And they just have a lot more options now. This tower's down. AY is catching up, trying to get up to that HOD so we can have a little bit more impact in these fights. Extra regen will help out as well.
Here comes Cole towards the mid lane, sieging away out of tier 1. Not yet for MP to be at attendance here. Looks like Envy has finished off his Dragon Lance, an item that was almost made perfect for someone like Terrorblade. This guy is so like skinny. He had like 800 life until he picked up that item. So now with 1100 to kind of go along with his ridiculous amount of armor, just overall makes him a bit more meatier. And now he can move in. Sunder's up, ready to go. Metamorphosis, the real ultimate, ready to go. And they've drawn out their game plan, looking to pincer in onto Cole right in this mid lane. Envy could show himself. Cole are in a decent position to head into the high ground. They get hit with the weave. They turn around with the disruption, but he was not in that metamorph, so he's going to be able to step back. Boat will fly out, but it crosses right in front of him. Cancel, eating a lot of damage. Looks to go for the Requiem. Will be able to get it off, but loses his life right after. And Cole, just like that, will drop 2. MP round back to look over the tier 1, and they could combo it into a tier 2 takedown on top of it and just swell up even further in net worth.
Yeah, you can see Cancel actually going for the mech on Shadow Fiend, something we haven't seen for quite some time, but realizing that we have two kind of greedy right-clicking cores. He wants to go for more of a fighting build and help, give them actually a shot in these team fights. But with MSS getting such a good start and now going to lose the first tier 2 of the game at 14.5 minutes, he's not really going to have the greatest of impacts, as he kind of falls behind on damage versus Terrorblade versus Avenge, just naturally tanky heroes.
Top lane, they made their move onto Monkeys. We'd seen how long MSS had been stalking them, and they're finally going to be able to strike with a +1 rotation. Now, back in that mid lane, a trade's happening here as Complexity maybe pushing in there with their advantage in numbers. It's not going to be able to get the catch on anyone. It's just MP getting another big takedown, leading with 2 ahead in terms of net worth. It's Envy at the top. No surprise there, but MSS just right behind him. Very farm Sand King, man. He got that Blink Dagger, and he's been involved in what feels like almost everything. 3-0-7 for the Sand King.
Yeah, and AUI, after that terrible start, losing his tower super early on, was part of a couple good rotations. They had some really nice team fights because MSS getting that Blink super early on, and now basically, just 1k behind, not even that, behind the Weaver, who had such a nice laning phase, is able to push out this top lane. Like we talked about earlier, NP with these really nice deep wards they got down after, pressuring this bottom tier 2 and now taking this mid tier 2, they can see like where all of Complexity is moving. They know they're over by this Ancients area. They're playing by this top tower, so EE is able to farm in this bottom lane really aggressively. They're going to pressure this tower, maybe even take it as SVG moves down here and slowly working towards his Blink. Has 900 gold now on him.
And MP were able to fight around using their own wards. Complexity got their own nice aggressive wards down in that bottom lane, but the problem is that the fight was never there. MP were never putting themselves down there. Bao, top lane, stun set up. The boat will come out. Nice connection from Z-Freak. Will help Moo out a bit too. And MSS looks to make the call to TP away, but the Savage Roar going to be there for Monkeys. Cancels it out. They're going to get the root onto Owie. Curtis going to be dropped. They will be able to get Z-Freak down, but MSS will be taken care of next. Even Cancel looking to rotate in. Him and Swindle in action now. All 4 who are alive from Complexity here in the top lane. But there's a push coming in from the bottom. Here's SVG. Looks like Envy is going to not participate in this push. Simply sends in his illusion. Cole will take the tier 2 top lane, and that will probably be the end of it. But the first promising fight for Cole in a while is a simple 2-man takedown.
Yeah, it is, another tower up in that top lane, which, is sort of an area they already had control of, so not really the biggest deal in the world for NP losing that tower. They would much rather, take this mid tower at the bottom one so they can sort of start playing around this bottom side of the map, but not to be, as they still have both those tier 1 standing, as it lets Envy stay around this area, continue to just farm up, has the Yasha now, as well as 1700 gold, so working towards that Manta, and did get an illusion rune as well, so maybe you're going to try and hold that until he has the Manta, then go for a sort of a timing push with the Manta and the illusion rune, as Complexity only has towers staying in their top lane, so I think NP very happy with how the game is going so far, despite losing a couple heroes in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely a time for nourishment now for MP if they want to farm up and coast their way into those next few items. Cole more in a farm anything you can find at this moment in time. Where's Monkeys at? Okay, Radiance and Q. It's a Radiance bear. regardless of changing the player, it seems like the bear will stay the same here. Top lane, Seafreak makes his move for Owie. Gets the swap as the X comes out, but oh, he gets rooted. Plus they had the Savage Roar. Owie's not going to be going anywhere except to the afterlife. See you later, Owie. Here comes MSS though, steps up to play him and Envy in a Metamorph and the Epicenter. As they try to get the finish onto Monkeys, they will get it. SVG assists and steps in with the finger. Now Zeefric should be going down. And MP make a much better and more worthier trade. Oh, they tried to go with the Burrow. X will pull him back, but response play from NP. Yeah, it does cost them a couple of ultimates here. They will just quickly try to make the most out of this Metamorphosis by rushing towards this tier 1 and finishing off.
Yep, and bringing in the Lone Druid before he picks up the Radiance, obviously a huge kill. Until he has that, really just isn't that useful of a hero, just has to sort of sit back and farm, isn't able to do too much around the map. But AOI going down again, so 5 deaths now on him. His item progression has been pretty stifled since we talked a little bit earlier how he had caught up so well, but now going down a couple of times, pushing in that top lane. Not the most farmed hero in the game, but they do at least have Envy to sort of play that more late game oriented hero this game.
Mild bit of harassment here on the Rose, nothing too troublesome for him. But yeah, the real core and carry at the moment is Envy. I don't know how much Owie's going to be able to find his way to still be a big factor on this Vengeful Spirit, who does typically have an earlier power peak than a lot of the cores, but should be able to offer great sieging potential as they make an approach to Complexity's base. She can still offer a lot of damage towards that like tier 3 tower, along with Envy, who is got his Manta now complete and is content in pushing through this bottom lane. We'll look at Moo here for Complexity side, a Lincoln Sphere set to be complete. He's inching closer and closer to it. Can't rely fully on the defensive capabilities on just Swindle and Zeefreak there to help him out.
Yep, and an NP taking these towers down to the bottom lane, getting control of that really early on. Super nice for SVG, because he was able to just sit down there and farm that lane. You don't really want to just run down there and gank him with, you know, your Kunkka Shadow Demon, because it's just a line, and there could be people behind him. You only have like 1 or 2 heroes showing. And so then he's able to just sit down there and calmly farm a blink, and there's not too much you can do about it. So has that online in only 20 minutes, even after that terrible start they had. So yeah. Moo, until he has that Lincoln's picked up, has got to be pretty careful as they migrate up the top lane.
This is going to be a blink debut and a good one, too. It looks like they've already made their jump, though, for Owie. It could turn into a bit of a bait, though, if they can't get the finish fast already. The rest of MP show up to play. Zeefreak already heading out. Moo, though, on the other side, he had changed out his TP from his backpack and is looking for a place to be able to use it here. Owie shows up to the mid lane, but they are not going to be able to get the catch. Instead, they'll head up and over through their shrine. Are they going to go for the D ward? They can't see it up there. Oh, yeah, they will. Okay, they take care of that. But Roche is up. Envy pops Metamorphosis, and I think we know what he wants to get. It's an Aegis.
Yeah. He had the Arcane Rune as well whenever he popped the Metamorphosis, so perfect timing right before the Arcane Rune wore off. So even after they get this Roshan, we'll be able to head into a push very, shortly afterwards if they want to.
Easy Roche, no trouble at all. Moves around the corner, but has to be careful. There are wards actually just on that high ground for MP. And it looks like he will be able to weasel on by. But it looks like it's time for Complexity to start thinking about just split pushing these side lanes and hiding indoors for a high ground defense. Not the best position you want to be in here when you still have a lot of farm you want to be getting. Where's Monkeys at? The Radiance is now done. And now he has the option to kind of use that bear to help these lanes push out on the side a little bit. But I was going to say, do you feel like it's like too little too late at this point in time?
I think it's really nice for, getting the Radiance on the bear because it doesn't get copied by the reflections. So you aren't Radiance burning your team down whenever he pops that reflection. Whereas, if he was the range farm, then he'd just kind of beat himself to death. So I think that's pretty nice for them, that the Radiance isn't going to get reflected by the Terrorblade. Obviously, the Lone Druid, the Radiance Lone Druid good versus them in that aspect. Going to give them mischance to all the illusions and give them a little bit extra damage, which is something they're kind of lacking. Moo went for this Lincoln's, Dragonlance Lincoln, so doesn't have the Death, so doesn't have the Maelstrom Mjolnir, which he typically goes for afterwards. So still working up towards that. they're kind of low on damage now as it is. So you can see NP, AY actually going for the Shadow Blade, so giving them another means of trying to start these fights. So they know they're strong right now and they really do want to fight and be pushing in this bottom lane. I'm gonna TP mid now, so maybe even looking to go high ground, so they realize we're gonna start getting split up by this Weaver and Radiant Soul Druid cutting waves before too long. They'll look for a pick off or just walking down one of these lanes before too long as NP realizes how strong they are, knowing.
Yeah, not looking to use their power quite yet, it would appear. SVG is pretty close to Melons here in the bottom lane as he's pushing out one of these side lanes. He's already been down here plenty to farm up that blink. Uh-oh, mid lane. Torrent raises. That's a quick dazzle snipe there from Complexity. Let's see if they want to take a fight out of it here. MSS stuns out the bear. Envy commits with the Metamorph and is able to burst it down. Takes the 300 gold. Moo looks to swing it up. The boat is going to get connected. The Savage Roar. Envy runs back behind the tower. And now he's going to get some assistance here. MSS pops out this pipe. And now MP can look to move in with a fight. MSS sets it up with the burrow, and they blast down with the finger and take out cancel. Now the swap back, looking to get another bear down, another 300 gold. Meanwhile, Owie trading blows with Moo. They will get the Aegis taken out here. Envy very low, turns around, uses the Sunder onto SVG to get a second life. And now MP charges their way down this mid lane. They don't have an Aegis, but with that cancel takedown, they can try to force out a buyback and begin their siege.
Yeah. And that is one of the drawbacks of having the Radiance on the bear and having all of your gold committed to just the summons is whenever it goes down twice, you're just not really a hero for 70 seconds, and it did. So Monkeys doesn't have that bear and not going to be super useful this upcoming time. At the very least, NP doesn't have the Metamorphosis, so I doubt they're going to be going high ground right now. But not the greatest of fights for Complexity. You can see Cancel going down again, and with going the mech and the Hurricane Pike is pretty low in damage. Going for more of that utility SF, or just just being sort of this frontliner, and doesn't really have a lot of damage, so relying more on Moo for that as the game goes later and later, as he is going to be going for that Maelstrom like we talked about. Doesn't typically like to buy the Death Soul and the Weaver like some other players do.
Yeah.
The Complexity do kind of have some damage issues, as we saw in that last fight.
I mean, it'll be nice to have the benefit of, I guess, one Soul Catcher if it does connect, but you're right. Like, no Z-Freaks here for boat, defense, Torrent, and everything else really falls on either the Shadow Fiend or the Lone Druid when he has his bear, and then obviously Moo. But it's not the easiest here, as MP have been able to kind of continue to jump in and out. That fight very forgiving for Cole. It was very beneficial to be able to kind of get Rose out of the fight first and foremost, because imagine if that was a fight where they had a good weave out with Grave keeping him alive, the heals constantly popping out, a Solar Crest being used. Very difficult. MP probably not looking to get themselves in a situation where they'll be down that man early again.
Yeah, MSS actually going for the pipe on the Sand King, not something we typically see on the hero, but mitigates a lot of their damage. And it looks like he has the Shivas queued up as well, so sort of going for this damage mitigation build, realizing how kind of the issues Complexity have, that as the game goes later, if they don't really have an answer for this Terror Blade, he can kind of just beat everybody down, and there's not too much they can do about it. The bear is going to fall off quite hard versus Terror Blade as the game goes later, as he can just crush it super quickly, and Cancel may go down mid.
Okay, Cancel. I mean, I don't know how many ults you can survive through. Not that many. Just gets blasted. MP happy to commit what they can, if that means getting the Shadow Blade taken out of the game as they make their approach now. MP has his Metamorphosis ready to go. No excuses. Now it's time for Complexity to fabricate some sort of defensive game plan here. MP are now in the bottom site. There's the Metamorphosis. And Envy begins to go to work. Fortification probably going to be forced out here within a moment. There it goes. And they'll just let the big guy go to work. Creep wave going to be quickly dissolved. Tier 3 going to be down. And now they're going in for the Rex here. Complexity need to defend, need to hold, need to take this game back if they want to survive in this tournament. Otherwise, they're going to be at risk of not qualifying, not moving on into the finals. Pipe popped here. MP very satisfied. Get their big win, walk away. And Complexity moving forward, trying to see if they can pick off anyone trying to run out. Envy moves back in. They're going to pull him back with the X, and that's when they turn on to Moo here. He's in trouble. Gets off the time lapse. Tries to rush in, get the finish for SVG, who's able to blink and make it away. The Gemini attack will get the finish, but that's when Envy looks to open up. Lincoln's going to be popped out. Moo still able to scatter away from trouble. Here comes Cancel. Here comes Z-Freak and Swindle, all looking to surround Envy. Rose barely able to survive, gets its own grave, goes for the TP, not going to be able to make it out. He gets slashed down. Envy going to be going next. Gets off the Sunder, but that's when the boat drives it home. And Complexity take their biggest fight, it feels like, of the game, punishing MP on the way out from their bottom lane push.
Yeah, Complexity doesn't really have a way to jump them whenever they're just sitting at the base like that. Other than this, you know, just landing a torrent boat and then sort of chasing them down. Which is what happened there. That's really the best way they have to take these fights is, you know, they wait till the Metamorphosis is wearing out, a couple heroes to TP out. I think MSS is TP to push out top. AOI TP'd as well, and they did bring down Monkeys as he split pushed this top lane. In the meanwhile, but Complexity chasing them down with multiple X's, Moo getting, you know, just dozens and dozens of right clicks off, and that's really how they have to take these fights, because whenever you have Weaver, Shadow Fiend, and, you know, Lone Druid as your cores, you don't really have a way to just jump in and start these fights. You're sort of reliant on NP going maybe a little bit too far in and chasing them slowly down over time. But Monkeys did actually get the tier 3 down top, so they have access to these shrines.
Yeah. That's a pretty nice takedown there for Complexity. And when they weren't even able to get a tier 2 down yet in the mid lane, now they totally remove an access point from MP. Would have been nice to if it was the other shrine, one closer to the Roche pit side, but money is money here for Cole at this point in time. And now we're going to be seeing some new items trickle in. The bear beginning to swell up a bit further. He's going for that AC buildup. Lotus has been complete here for Z-Freak. Really nice to help get rid of any sort of maybe like Solar Crest debuffs or Hex, under kind of trouble. Speaking of taking down shrines, MP going to take down some shrines themselves, it looks like, as they make their own go onto the Complexity side. They'll get this done, and then, I don't know, is there any comfortable opportunity for MP to push once again without, you know, fighting and getting an Aegis?
I think they either want to look for a pick-off or some sort of a fight outside the base before they just force high ground, because like we saw before, really the only way Complexity can take fights that easily is if they're, you know, NP just sort of walks up to the high ground and then gets chased back out of the base as, you know, get their supports picked off one by one, get bugs caught on them so they can't blink away on SVG, which is what happened in the last fight. He had the bug on him and sort of got stuck there. I had to turn and hit it, and then got brought down. So I think NP can be looking to take a fight outside the base or just wait till that Roshan, like you said, before they trying to head to the high ground once again.
They really want to make sure they can get themselves as much space as possible to secure probably the finish of it as they waddle their way down this mid lane. It will be up in just a few seconds here. Mid lane's pushed in. We look to see what MP decide to do here. Monkeys is pushing out this top lane. Still a tier 1 standing there. Maybe MP see it now and are like, we should probably go take care of that. As they start to head that way, Finger right onto Melons. They'll take out the Shadow Demon, who promptly buys back, and he'll TP right into the shrine where the fight is about to happen here. Can they get the chase here? Purge is going to be onto Owie. They try to scoot out with the help of the Force Staff. The pipe's going to get popped. The Bear's looking to move in and just get shredded apart as Envy turns it around with a Metamorph. Now moving in with a big Epi combo and a Burrow and a stun all here. Can they get the finish? Looking to go for Monkeys. The Lotus Orb is applied, but not going to be good enough. Cancel, dishing out the Requiem, gets sundered. Envy stays alive with the help of the Grave and now looks to right-click him home and takes him down. Moo is gone, or rather, Monkeys is gone. Moo is alive, but it's only him and it's only Swindle on the back of his buyback here. Complexity, not the fight they were hoping to be able to take. MP should be able to easily take this shrine, a tier 2 top lane. The Roche if they'd like, but with 40 seconds, they may be able to kind of even push it towards the base here. Light of Heaven, seriously, stop clicking on the shrine.
They lose the gem as well that Swindles had bought, so gonna have all their vision taken away after losing that fight. This Moo does have time lapse, should be fine. Oh, they have the gem onto Rose, just out of range.
They'll get him. He's a slippery little bug. They'll finally squish him right under their foot. 70 seconds, no buyback. They may not know that, but they're gonna go and see if they can force it out.
Yep, no meta, but with the the Vengeance Aura and just the amount of items on this Terror Blade. They still take down these buildings extremely quickly, but looks like they are going to play it safe, not knowing if he has buyback or not, and going to go take the Roshan with the gem, cleaning up the last of Complexity's wards. So now no vision outside of just where these creep waves are, and NP in a very dominant position after they're going to be getting this Aegis.
Oh yeah, extra life here for Envy. And NP now could be just one push away from a rematch against DC here in the finals coming up next. We'll see though. Complexity not looking to go down. They have already achieved so much in this qualifier, pulling out some good upsets, revealing some new strategies, showing that they are more finely tuned. The team that has a chef, the only team I think that has a chef, I don't know. Maybe that's the secret. But for now, just knowing that this is, one of the best chances to get in some prime experience, because the next qualifier that could be rolling into town is probably going to be the Kiev qualifier. So, or they will probably run into NP again soon.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing with these qualifiers is whenever there's just a few really good teams like there are for NA, there's NP, DC, Complexity. DC maybe a tier or a half a tier above as they get invited to some lands based on their past results.
Yeah.
And also just how they do in these matches. NP or DC almost always comes out just a little bit on top above these other teams, but they are on a very similar tier, and that sort of thing. Whenever you come to these qualifiers, just qualifier after qualifier, you have to beat the Complexities and NPs to get into these tournaments.
And then you have like those teams that casually roll in with some super stacks, ones that have been playing together a little bit longer like Onyx, and then some of the newer ones like your Wanteds that maybe have not played together a lot as a team but are just very talented and could still pull out upsets against, like we saw DC in this qualifier. Swap for Owie. Oh man, blinking and missing. Swindle's gone. No buyback for him. Complexity will have to defend, possibly their last defense as a foursome. They quickly lose Monkeys. The Lone Druid going to be taken out of this. Moo. Could be one of the last hopes here for Cole to try to hold it out between him and Cancel. It's not going to be easy. Popped up pipe, and the call has already been made. Complexity have been eliminated from the DAC qualifier. It is going to be NP scooting into the finals to face DC for the one spot to head off to China and compete at LAN.
Yeah, NP, I think, had probably the superior draft in both games and executing it masterfully. I think especially this game was a pretty significant outdraft. The Sand King pick and then, the Lion there at the end really shored up NP's lanes, and Complexity tried to, sort of substitute that by going for that aggressive tri-lane. They punished this Venge, but in the long run, they just made so many nice moves with the Venge, Sand King, and Lion just walking around the map, getting pickoffs and buying time for Envy. And then, whenever it mattered, MSS coming in with the clutch epicenter, and the game from there was just sort of all NP.
They hit their timings well. You already touched on it there. Even the big example, MSS, the second he gets that Blink Dagger, he just goes absolutely ham with it. It was a struggle for Owie for quite a while, but Envy certainly did what he needed to do. Mid lane just crushing and taking it to Cancel. Give props to, Swindle and Z-Freak at the early portion of this game. They really tried to make the most out of their dynamic duo with the Kunkka and Shadow Demon. Many setups, many kills, but, ultimately MP just had too much going for them too fast and were able to just outmuscle their way and put themselves into the finals here. So that is going to wrap things up for our first series of today. I will need to double check and make sure that Fogged is going to be available and ready. And if he is, CCNC, it was an absolute pleasure co-casting with you. If he's not, maybe I'll be seeing you again. So thank you so much for showing up on a short notice to kind of help me out. Greatly appreciate it there. And if you guys want to show your love to CCNC, hit him up at his Twitter at CCNC Dota 2. Thank you again, Quinn.
Yep.
Take care, man. Maybe I'll see you soon or not. All right. For everyone else, we are going to be heading into a little bit of a break, like we always seem to go into. Now, again, this best of 3 only lasted 2 games, and these games are set up on a schedule. And that schedule says that we are going to be playing our final at 4 p.m. local time here, which is exactly 1 hour from now. And, We don't have teams just kind of waiting on standby so that they're ready to hop into the next match just like that. So we can't just get the finals underway. If they do happen to start the finals early, I will see it and I will let you know. But I would say prepare for a 1-hour break, guys, and then be back here and psyched up and ready as we go into our very last matchup of the American qualifiers. It's DC, it's NP. One team will qualify to go to the Chinese land and one team will not. I'm Kyle Guy and we'll be back for our finals of the American qualifier. Take care, fam.
This is my first time